Welcome. I want to bring forward an invitation into a practice inspired by a friend. Shout out to George. And, amongst other friends, we've got really an interesting time where I see a lot of emotional unrest coming forward. And I just like to speak to inviting in practice and some techniques in movement and breath and awareness to really look at the conversation within ourselves of how to come in and out of the ebbs and flows of emotion while putting down the idea of upset and just learning as a greater acceptance through the possibilities of each moment as we know it. So these practices today are really to invigorate strength and resilience in the face of emotional charges, whether they're something that actively happened or something that's come up from the past, something we're integrating. Today, these movements and exercises are guided towards a toning and balancing and invitation into resilience amongst the charges that may come up from day to day, so that we may be strong in our way of being for those around us and for ourselves and beyond, towards love. So I wanted to start with some ideas before we go on into this practice. One first being a poem. I'm going to show you this picture too. This is from Rumi. This is a book called The Illuminated Rumi. Quite wonderful book of poems. So there is a way of breathing that's a shame and a suffocation. And there's another way of expiring, a love breath that lets you open infinitely. Just going to share this. I'm going to share one more piece from an emotional anatomy book by Kelman. We are a sea of liquids making a structure and shape, a pattern of pulsation leading to certain patterns of experienced life, feeling, and thinking, both within ourselves and with others. One of the fundamental elements seen in living material is its pulsatory organization, its ability to expand and contract, to lengthen and shorten, to swell and shrink. This pattern of expansion and contraction organizes basic cognition and perception: empty, full, slow, fast, expand, withdraw, engulf, disgorge. All feeling and thinking is based on this pumping action. Expansion and contraction are essential pumps of existence. So just some fuel for the practice today, stepping into, once again, looking at our own central channel of energy within our nervous system and our core of being that brings life force up and out and through us like a fountain, where we may access new waves of thought, new insights for how we may be in the face of any sudden emotion that arises, and finding joy, love, and in the face of anything, so is where I like to go. So today I'll guide us in this way to a place such as this, and we're going to begin with just pumping a little bit. So we're going to just begin with some cliffhangers. So we find ourselves on the ground and our feet are flat, knees bent, hands behind us, fingers facing our heels of our feet. And slowly we lift our bum and we bring it closer to our heels to deepen the dip here. And slowly we bring ourselves down. And we're going to start to connect with the breath. So we exhale down and we inhale up. Inhale up. Curving, creating an arc in that low back, extending the head back. We're inhaling and exhaling. Tilting that pelvis back in. Curling the spine, chin to chest. And one more time. On your own breath. And one more. Okay, and we're just warming up. So here we just polishing the spine, looking at the relationship of our own pump, our own cerebral spinal fluid coming from the head down the spine through the tailbone with the breath. And here we're going to step in to one more direction before we go on, just introducing some of the frames we're stepping into. We're going to place our hands around our rib cage and again considering the breath. So here our hands are along our ribs, just below the sternum and just above the bottom. We're reaching for the diaphragm that lives underneath the rib cage. So here we're holding, and on the inhale, we're going to breathe in and expand against our own hands. On the exhale, squeeze in gently to the point that you feel good about, just to create a little tension. For the next inhale, we're going to open against our hands here again and expand the diaphragm. Thinking about anything you may be experiencing as you inhale and resist opening up against these hands, anything that you may have been feeling contraction around, anything that may have been bringing up feelings of shame, guilt, any difficulties around emotions you've been facing. Considering this as you open the tissues against the hands and exhale, squeezing in, deepening this pressure and contraction into the diaphragm. And on the inhale again, breathing in, opening, expanding, opening, considering anything you've been facing recently, difficulty causing you to contract in your chest or in your diaphragm, and just opening with the breath internally against your hands, creating space to meet these sticky edges. And exhaling, squeeze in a little bit more. And this time, holding the breath at the end of the exhale and pushing out a little bit more air. Really letting go of any ideas, any attachment to these feelings that have been difficult recently. Letting them leave the body. And on the inhale, releasing the hold and expanding through the ribs and the chest. Feeling into the new space created from this push-pull. Breathing in love, breathing in light, spaciousness. Just taking a moment to notice the quality of the breath here in the ribs, deep to the ribs and the diaphragm and the lungs, the chest. At any point along this journey today, if you feel a deep sense of a swelling up of emotion that you wish to sit with and allow to come through, and the emotion becomes too much, then take time to allow yourself to do this. And you may find yourself laying down on your back and maybe giving yourself a hug while this emotion is swelling through you to reassure the body. I'm back online. I had a moment where my phone kicked me out. So here we are, just checking in and acknowledging if anything comes up in the practice today and you have an active emotion, then take the time to allow yourself, if you need, to slow down and go inward and bring yourself into a posture such as this, where we can hold ourselves, giving our bodies the signal that we can go inward and be with this experience, and we are safe to do so, that we are allowed to emote, and this is an appropriate space to emote, and release anything that is not current, and allowing the full expression, whatever needs to come through, whether it's tears, whether it's sound, allow yourself in that exploration to let go as it arises. For this is the practice, coming into and out of experience around as emotions rise and fall out of our control, which they will arise and fall out of our control, then we will meet this experience with a practice that reminds us to allow the ebb and flow of the emotion without a holding, without an attachment, without making it mean something, and allowing ourselves to breathe through the moment into a greater love and understanding that emotions come and go, and we are here to be with them and not control as much as we do invite a field where they can come and go freely without attachment or holding, allowing us greater field within our body and our energy to maintain health and keep us vital and our energy available to be of service to others and ourselves as it arises for the moment to moment. So here we are, that invitation again to hold yourself if anything comes up. Take that time to integrate and be with it and let go. And we continue. So we've explored our breath, this contracted state that tends to come from anxiety, from breath holding, from fear, from feeling a medley of emotion, of anything that less than, that sense of less than or not enough, it's not working for me, and inviting in the sense of the other end of understanding it always opens back up into expansion of, free to move, clear understanding about where I've just come from, deeper breath and spaciousness to be open and receptive to what we're witnessing and experiencing through our awareness and simply being. So here we're going to just go into a little bit of exploration of strengthening, and the words are weird, so just go ahead and follow me here. We're going to go to the mat on our hands and knees, and we're just going to go ahead and go into a plank. So here we are in a plank, and then just taking a moment here to get your shoulders underneath those wrists and stack your joints, and dropping that glute and beginning to, from here, squeezing. So squeezing the glutes together, squeezing the core, squeezing the quads, squeezing the shoulders back and up. So we're pushing off the floor as much as we are leaning into the floor. So there's a push-pull, and we're just engaging deeply in this plank. And then release that tension and just kind of allow yourself to rock a little bit. And we're just going to warm up the core a little bit here. So on the next inhale, we're going to lift that right leg up to the right knee. Right knee to right elbow. Left knee to left elbow. And just at your own pace, take a few of these and slowly lowering your knees down. And we're just going to take a puppy pose and reach our sit bones towards the sky, curving our low back, reaching our chest down towards the mat, extending our paws out and really reaching through the palms of our hands, activating this line here so we can, through the arms, we're engaged, so we can get some depth into our shoulders. Big deep breaths here. And slowly, on the inhale, starting to curl up and bringing our pelvis back up. So we're in cat here, and just start to maybe walk your hands a little bit closer together and curling into cat, and just taking some time here to explore your range in cat while we're arched. And then maybe even taking some circles with the hips, so going the other direction here. So now we're gonna dip in and curl. Just exploring and finding any stiff points in your hips. Here we're accessing the deep hips, getting ourselves ready for some further integration. Today we're going to access the base of our sit bones, where a lot of our emotional and sort of negative energy currents come down and settle. We're going to begin to access that and move it through and up the system, and allowing ourselves to have a little bit more of upliftment through the tissues and our emotional bodies. So from here, we'll go ahead and, I had a plan once. We'll go ahead and just take another cat-cow, just acknowledging this relationship of the spine to pump and extend. As we unlock the lower levels of our body, we will integrate and invite the energy through the spine so that it may freely move up and down the spine, giving us access to vital energy. Deeper breath, open hearts. And then just take a moment here, some child's pose. Okay, and we're just going to allow ourselves to come into a seated position now, just swinging the legs around, and we're going to begin to access the points along the sacrum that tie into our parasympathetic nervous system. So right now we're going to begin to play with, so we'll just start with our feet on the ground, and we're just going to start to notice our sacrums. So we're going to slowly make circles around our sacrum and just try to ride the edge of your sacrum. So the sacrum is shaped like a pizza on the base of our spine, and our glutes connect down and out from that point. So our sacrum, we can rock around the edges of it and roll to find sore spots, and we can even roll on top of it. And when we engage and find these sore spots, we really start to begin a conversation with the deep nervous system and the energies that settle down here at the base of the spine. So from here, we're just warming up a little bit, leading into this another movement where we're going to lift the legs and come off and just be a little bit even more floating on the sacrum. So right now we're floating on the sacrum. If you find it a little difficult to do this, maybe just take a moment to take a deep breath and engage the core here. Maybe like take a few moments to extend the legs and bring them in. And then when you're ready, taking a little bit of a break here, just a further being kind, waking up the core as we go into this exploration on the sacrum, because we will be using those deep pelvis muscles and the core muscles to help us hold ourselves up as we explore, lifting the legs and rolling on the sacrum. So we can hold the back of our legs to kind of help us have a greater sense of balance. Always just, if you feel like you're gonna fall or you're straining in one direction, just put your feet down and just keep rotating on that sacrum. And really just explore. So finding those edges that are really sore and just using your body weight to rock into that. Considering, is there anything coming up, anything that's been going on that you feel unsettled about or unsure or uncomfortable, and just take the time to breathe deeply through your diaphragm and your chest and out the sacrum into these sore points, and until they lessen a bit, and then keep exploring. The sore points should become less sore in this exploration. And here we're just going to start to begin to rock a different direction. So now we're going up and down instead of in circles. And just slowly start to allow yourself to rock all the way back. And continue rocking up and down, just allowing yourself to feel the entire sacrum making contact with the ground. Just massaging these regions next to the sacrum, deep to the muscle, and on top of the sacrum, deep to the fascia, just contacting these deep nervous system points to stimulate. Stimulate strength as much as we are stimulating a release, acknowledging any charged or stuck energy living at the base of the spine, allowing it to make its way up and circulate so that we may have more awareness and ability to access and be with whatever comes up for us. On the next roll, just allow yourself to stay down here and just allowing the feet to come flat in constructive rest. Taking a moment to just do some windshield wipers. Taking your time here, finding your own pace with your breath, inhaling up, exhaling down. Maybe rocking the head to the opposite shoulder. holding ourselves. We are rocking ourselves as our own mothers here, just treating ourselves gently with compassion around anything that comes up, taking the time to be with it and allowing it. And when you're ready, on the next windshield wiper, we're going to make your way to your left side. So you're going to roll to your left side. So go ahead and laying on your left side in sort of a fetal position, bringing your knees, drawing them up to the chest. Perhaps grabbing a pillow or a blanket to support your head while you're in this position. And I'm going to guide us through a self-rocking technique that is just further integration and accessing any stagnation that develops around the base of the sacrum, the perineum, at the bottom of the pelvic floor. And we're going to rock this energy until we feel a sense of deep settling occurring or a sense of release of charged energy. So we're going to support your head. Let's see what I can see. Okay. And still laying in fetal. Here, we're going to place our left hand on our right neck and shoulder, supporting, maybe placing a pillow underneath the arm as you rest your hand on your shoulder so that there's no effort there. You're just simply holding with your left hand, you're holding your right shoulder and neck. And we're taking our right hand and we're placing we're going to locate the base of your tailbone. So we're holding, this is our sacrum, and at the base we have a little dip. This is the coccyx, and we can like hook under it, and we're going to find this base. And once you find that, then we're going to bring your hands to where your pinky is making contact with the coccyx, and we're just going to wrap our fingers around the inside of our glute there. And this is the bottom of our pelvic floor. And from here, we're just going to begin to offer a little bit of a rock, just pumping energy up. Now, it may feel a little weird at first. Just acknowledge that there are a lot of muscle groups up in here, and we're accessing a major muscle group that contracts and expands with every breath, and especially when it comes to holding deep-seated anxieties and fears. It is very common, such as when we think of someone having a tight ass and being uptight, it's very literal that translates. We often will hold tension and pull up from the rectum in our patterns of deep-seated fears as we hold our breath and try to avoid pain or whatever it is that is arousing us into a contracted state. And so we're just stimulating this deep muscle with the breath, rocking, getting it to where the whole body is rocking and feeling the charged energy releasing, moving up the body and circulating through. Always taking a break. If you need it, if your arm gets tired, then just take a moment to rest and feel the energy circulating. Notice where you're feeling it in your body. There's no wrong or right places that you should be feeling it. Just acknowledging the breath and the noticing sensations throughout. wonderful breathing tool for releasing emotional charges is the water breath, where we breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you breathe out through the mouth, releasing all that charged energy, anything that's feeling sticky, or as I call it, the goo-goo muck, just let it out. Let it just slide out through the breath. And on the inhale, breathing in love, breathing in awareness, expanding. And rocking when you're ready. With the rocking, you can do this for as long or as little as you like, just really connecting with the breath and allowing yourself to release any charges that come up, letting go of any body tension. If you notice any holding patterns, just drop that body weight, sink into the floor, allow yourself to be supported, and let go. Slowly, just for further integration, we'll just bring that right arm to our left shoulder, giving ourselves a hug while we're here in fetal position. Maybe bringing your hips to where they're more stacked. And just beginning to create an inward circuit here of awareness. We are closing our circuit to the outside senses, and we are having an inward experience where we are holding ourselves. We are aware of the current state inside of us, and we're giving space to ourselves to freely experience whatever it is that is currently present inside, while giving our bodies the messages that we are not currently taking feedback from the outside. You're safe to drop in and let go and notice how it is for you now. Maybe you're feeling a little bit more air in your lungs. Maybe you're feeling a little bit of lightness or tingling returning to your back or your toes. Breathe into whatever you're noticing. When you're noticing your tension patternings, this is a wonderful thing to notice, for awareness precedes change. Until we notice our tension patterns, we will not have the opportunity to step out of them and find a new pathway. We must bring awareness to all the sensations in order to have an experience where they will shift. If we don't know it's hurting, or we don't know it's stuck, how do we know to breathe life into it? These practices invite this awareness to grow naturally. When you're ready, we'll just slowly bring our hands underneath us and lift ourselves up into a seated position. From my heart to yours, this is a very special practice, this emotional resilience, this building a system that is open and available to each moment, how it arises, especially when it's out of our control. Giving ourselves the capability of a calm way of being and an acknowledgement of this natural pump in our bodies that is breathing life force energy through us and allowing us to meet these expanded states as much as it's natural to go into the contracted states. And we find that in rocking and noticing our breath patterns, that we can open this conversation within ourselves to be more fluid in the experience that goes on as emotions rise and fall, and be more available to just being in the moment and allowing this process to do what it does without attachment, without holding, and with a knowing that this too shall pass. So thank you for being with me in this exploration today, and from my heart to yours again, may you be filled with love. May we share love openly and freely. May we feel this emanating up and out and through us, circulating in moment to moment, especially may we remember in those moments where we feel the lowest, and may we know that it's bound to go back up. Have a beautiful day.